Today, I'm going to be going over 4 must-have classes that you absolutely have to have set up. And then I'm actually going to be coaching you through a high-kill gameplay. So if you're looking to get better, just consider sticking around. Now, let's go to get the obvious one out of the way first. This is going to be your overkill class. This is what you're choosing most often. When it comes to my primary, I like the Vargo 52 and the XM4. My secondary, I like the Armaguerra and the Blixen. Now, for perks, we obviously are going overkill with perk 2. I always run quick fix because of the health regen component. I think it's a huge advantage. And I always run combat scout and perk 3 because of the live ping component. I think that's a huge advantage, taking away people being unpredictable. It's very easy to see what their next move is. Now, when it comes to the next 3 classes, this is what we really have to think about, which is going to be supply crates, and we also have lootable perks. So for my loadout number 2, this is always going to be my first option, which is going to be tempered. I think the ability to put 2 plates in here and quickly get back into a fight is a huge advantage. And notice my primary in this case is going to be my Armaguerra. It's going to technically be my secondary weapon. That's because, especially on Rebirth and Fortune's Keep, I need the ability to fight up close. So all of my special classes are going to have my Armaguerra or my Blixen, whichever one I'm running. So we go tempered with the first option. Now, if you have tempered, you kind of have one of 2 routes you can go depending on the game mode that you play. My next one is going to be restock because I rely on stims, and of course I miss all of my throwing knives. So those are going to be super valuable to have back when I am fighting. So on Rebirth, I generally go restock right here. If you are running on Fortune's Keep more, you can absolutely run high alert. I don't recommend high alert on Rebirth. I don't think it's that advantageous compared to tempered and restock. But again, if you find tempered and restock on the ground, you can of course go high alert. Now, let's go ahead and jump into the gameplay right here so we can break it down and really see this in action. I did specifically use this in today's gameplay. So as I mentioned, I'm going to be coaching you through a high kill Rebirth game right here. And while we're breaking it down, there are a few important things that I really want to make you aware of when it comes to using these 4 loadouts. First things first, for all things Rebirth and Fortune's Keep, as well as Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 as we are headed into those, make sure you are subscribed down below. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. That one click from you really helps the video a ton. It really helps support me in terms of getting the video pushed a little bit more. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is overkill. The easiest choice when it comes to your loadout is going to be overkill. Having a primary and secondary that you feel comfortable with is a huge advantage. So when it comes to going restock, tempered, or high alert, what it comes down to is, do you find a personal supply crate? If you find a personal supply crate, go in and grab one of those 3. By the way, real quick, watch the hip fire. You just gotta hope that you get more shots off than he does hitting you with the gun and that you win that. There's not a whole lot you can do there, but you know, going back, so if you find a personal supply crate, go one of those 3 things in that order: tempered, and then of course restock or high alert, depending on the map and depending on what you already have. If you don't find a personal supply crate, then you just go ahead and grab your loadout, which leads me to the next point of, if you buy a loadout and go overkill, do not then hit the free loadout for one of those, you know, better loadouts for tempered or anything like that. Save that free loadout in case you need to regain and you die. Like, the regain process can be miserable, so keep that loadout up and instead, you know, just go ahead and rock overkill. Now, for the sake, I want to talk about this for a second, by the way. I did this simply for the sake of today's video. Do not buy this $3,000 supply box UAV. I don't think it's worth it in terms of that versus a loadout. Like I said, I simply did that for the sake of today's video. So overall, 2 biggest things so far, and we got a few more things that I want to talk about. If you find a personal supply crate, grab one of those 3 other loadouts. If you don't find a personal supply crate, just go overkill and do not hit the free loadout and just leave that up in case you need to regain. Now, I catch one flying in over here, so we're going to go in and challenge the ghost skin. Because I get this clean kill, I can easily challenge the next guy with momentum. We're using the Arma and the Vargo here, which is easily my favorite class right now, but like I said, I love the XM4 and the Blixen as well. Now, I am playing with randoms here, so I've got to only worry about my cash flow. My teammate does end up dropping. I probably could have requested, but I actually make a pretty bad mistake right here, and we're going to talk about this. It's also going to lead me to one of the biggest things that I want to highlight when it comes to these 4 loadouts. Right here, I'm going to go ahead just strafing well. I've been hitting a lot of shots. The high damage areas right there allows me to get that kill, and I've got one flying. Now, when we watch this, Watch this guy right here. I want you to pay attention to this guy. This is the one that I'm thinking I'm going to talk about a little bit more. So as I'm looking this way, he's flying in, right? So I think that guy I highlighted committed to control. What ends up happening is here, now he's flying in, and I go challenge this guy. I run out of bullets, so I challenge him with the Vargo, and I get beat down with the pistol. It is what it is, but it brings up a very important point that I want to make. If you die, right, if you grab that loadout that you buy, which, by the way, or a personal supply crate or anything, if you die at any point in time and you are able to get your loadout guns back, you can then go hit one of those three, right? You can go tempered, restock, or high alert. Why? Because we do want perks back. That's a choice you can make, but I want quick fix. I want my perk 2. I want combat scout. I want to make sure I have throwing knives and stims. So I want to be able to get those things back. So if you die and you have a loadout up, you can go hit that and run one of these 3 classes. We're going to go ahead and take out the... Watch me wait for him. Just a little bit of patience. We hit shots right there. Really good start, by the way. 10 kills in the first circle. So right here, I end up going tempered. So now we're in a good position. Up until this point, I actually accidentally grabbed the wrong gun. Make sure you don't do that. We're in a really good spot. We're going to go ahead. We're going to hit communication tower. And now we're really starting to roll. Now we need to focus a little bit more on information. We're going to go ahead and challenge this guy right here. We're going to easily challenge. We're going to keep the pressure on, right? Once we break here, we can easily keep the pressure on. That's a pretty quick decision to challenge right here. We're able to get that down. We hit the bounce throwing knife. As I said, I don't hit very many throwing knives, but now we're starting to get this game rocking and rolling. When we talk about information, right? Where's my next push right here? Notice a bunch of people over on our loadout. Now, that's our free loadout. So I'm just going to leave that up in case I need to regain. You know, there's no need to hit that right there. I'm going to cluster up top. And now we're going to go ahead and start to push based on the information that I have, which is some people over here. Now, I don't know exactly where they are, but this is where, as I'm pushing over, I'm starting to use other pieces of information. Shots to my left, right? We see it on the minimap. So now I'm going to go ahead and challenge. Watch me hip fire this guy. Woo, baby. He got caught in between a little bit. If you are a sniper, you should be running amped, by the way, instead of combat scout, just because you need to be able to swap right there. But you see my teammate and I working together a little bit, and now we're going to keep challenging. 13 kills. There's a kind of 1 or 2 other situations that I really want to talk about with these 4 loadouts to be aware of. Right here, you're going to see as soon as I'm plated, I can push back in. I probably didn't need to push back that far, to be honest, especially with tempered, because it's much quicker. I think that's the biggest advantage. You know, but don't get me wrong, restock's a pretty big advantage too, especially if you're running stims. If you're running stims, I think restock's definitely a great choice alongside of tempered. The reason I don't like high alert too much is because of how close Rebirth is. You know, with Fortune's Keep, you can definitely get caught out in the open. There's a lot of long-distance third partying, whereas if that happens on Rebirth, if you get shot by a long-distance third party, you should be able to get into a building. You should be able to find cover, which is why I don't generally run it unless I already have restock and tempered. And by the way, real quick, if you have restock and like don't realize it and grab restock from your loadout, like that's not that big of a deal. It's really not. Actually, there's kind of 2 things that I still want to talk about here, but we're still going. The other thing is perk 1 and perk 3, I never changed. You know, if I grab quick fix from a lootable perk, I don't have a serpentine class. I don't need like 8 special classes here. I really only need those 3. And then of course, that just slows you down when choosing. If you have like a quick fix, I mean, think about how many different combinations you can have. You could have quick fix, restock, by the way, challenge with momentum right here. And once again, we just hip fire. That guy's just swinging. You could have quick fix, tempered, combat scout. You could have quick fix, tempered, amped. You could have serpentine, tempered, like there's too many different combinations. Keep it simple. Don't worry too much about perk 1 and perk 3 right here. And combat scout's not on the ground too much. Watch this right here. We're going to get this kill. Notice that 2 are over here, so I get the quick plate in, and we immediately push in. That's why I like tempered so much. Look at this game, by the way. 19 kills with 9 other teams, and we're just kind of playing based on information. Got a lot of information around. We're going to go ahead and push right in here. We're going to challenge down below. We got a bunch of people straight ahead, and he ends up jumping down here, so we're going to do a little loop around this building, and we actually... yeah, that guy makes a really good play right there. Killed me with the Owen gun. I ended up watching the kill cam back. Just a really good play. Now, this is the next one that I want to talk about. You know, after I die right here, so I lost tempered, right? I got 19 kills early game. You know, a bunch using tempered. It's a huge advantage, but now we got to reset. first of all, I did not see this guy right here, so I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna die. But what I want to talk about is when you go to grab your loadout, keep in mind that it goes to the last one that you chose. So when you go to grab your loadout, it gets weird here because I try to pull it really quick. This one technically goes back to tempered. You need to make sure you go back to your overkill class. So what ends up happening is because it's so quick, I don't even know how I grabbed that class. I think I just happened to be holding up on the left stick. And in this moment right here, I go down. Now, we have 2 loadouts up, right? This is where I talked about this is our free loadout and keeping this up for the regain process. I can't land on this loadout again. So I'm just going to go ahead and land back over on this one. And once again, make sure that you are choosing the correct class. So you have to slow down just a touch to make sure, but don't get caught in a situation. If you do get caught in a situation, like I said, at least you still have your secondary weapon, your close quarters gun that will allow you to be competitive. And make sure, you know, even if you don't have it set up normally like that. We're going to go in and challenge right here. We're going to hip fire this guy. Right, there's the hip fire with the Arma. And notice the 2 back below or back behind me pushing me. So we got to really be careful. So that's kind of the biggest thing with the 4 loadouts is, you know, being strategic about when you're using them. If you find a personal supply crate, and you know, it really is such a big advantage. I don't think people would do it enough. I definitely don't do it enough, and I definitely want to continue to do it more. How many times am I going to say definitely in one sentence? 20 kills. We got 7 other teams here, and I need plates. I need plates. The other thing to keep in mind, guys, if you kill somebody that has loadout and you want to go get tempered, you can do that as well, as long as you're comfortable with those guns. A lot of people are running, because of the meta right now, a lot of people are running a lot of good guns. So, yeah, if you find somebody else's loadout, you can absolutely do that. Now, we're going to go ahead. I hear a bunch of people above, so let's go ahead and challenge from this way right here. If you ever want to know why I love Combat Scout over Amped, it's just this reason right here. I fight a lot with my SMG. I'm very strategic about where I am with my AR, but watch this right here. I mean, we're able to tag. Now Ghost Skin's gonna re-peek. We're able to get that thirst right there. Watch this second guy here. This second guy wants to peek so bad. Watch how I get the thirst, right? So I get the live ping. Look, I'm just shooting based on the live ping here. And then we're able to get that thirst, take him out of the fight. One more in there, so we're gonna go ahead and hit jump spot. I kind of wish I had tempered, right? You see the difference with tempered, but overkill is more valuable in this scenario, especially because I didn't know if I was gonna be able to work my way back up to this building. You know, say I would always recommend, by the way, I mean, you could do it either way. I was going to say I would recommend, you know, landing on your stuff. You know, say your team wipes or maybe you want to go back and grab your guns. You know, you can, of course, go tempered and then rotate back to your guns. If your team wipes, you can grab tempered off the free loadout and then rotate up and grab your AR. You know, you can always land back where you died and then rotate to loadout as well. It's totally up to you. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. Just be smart about it. That's the biggest thing. I'm trying to limit my risk. It's one of the biggest reasons I'm a 4KD player, is just trying to limit my risk as much as possible. Being smart about the situations, not pushing too many 4-stacks, taking free and easy kills. In this moment right here, by the way, that was a little bit of an aggressive play to grab the big game bounty because we have power position and cover. To be honest with you, when I was playing, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to break this game down, and it's going to be pretty boring if I just sit in here for 2 minutes. When you're playing, if you have power position and cover, you can absolutely make either one of those plays. The big game bounty gives me information and gives me cash flow, which is a huge advantage, you know, especially in Endgame. I know exactly where one team is, but you can also pretty much by deductive reasoning figure out where everybody is. You're in big living quarters. It's very clear that a lot of people are going to have to rotate in. They're not only going to have to rotate in, they're not going to be able to have a ton of cover. In this moment right here, by the way, watch how notice how I'm getting shot. So I notice this enemy and I'm getting shot. Watch how I strafe backwards to cover. So I notice him right here and I'm going to get shot from like somewhere over this direction. Watch how I still am shooting at this guy, but I'm creating cover from that second enemy, right? So he can't shoot me, but I can shoot this guy, which is exactly what I want to do. And I just can't finish it off, but he can't go anywhere, right? He's got to rotate to me, caught completely out in the open. Can we get the thirst? Yup. Yep, by the way, we hear the comm tower, so we know there's a team left. Or, yeah, it's left. It's left. Now, we got 24 kills. We got 2 other teams, so we're in a really good spot right here. One guy right there. We're able to get that down with the Vargo. I like the Vargo a lot, especially this build right here, just because it is straight vertical recoil. You know, when you have horizontal, it gets really tough to worry about that left and right. When it's straight vertical, all you got to do is just pull down on that right stick. Now, we're going to go ahead. We're going to try to see what we can find. We got one over this way. We're going to keep the pressure on right here. Since I have him broken, I'm going to be a little bit strategic, but we're going to jump over right here. We're able to get that down. We're able to get this thirst, and we get information about where teammates are. One over to the right here, and we got big game bounty. Don't pop those, please. Stop popping rage serums. Now, right here, we got one team. We got one guy over to my right building here. We got people back in gas with the PDS. And I'm going to be honest, guys. This is where I try to keep it as real as possible. Like, I make a pretty bad mistake here. You kind of got to assume he's going to push roof. And I completely neglected that in this moment because, of course, we always want to try to get high ground. We always want to get the roof if possible. But we can't always just, you know, I just assumed nobody was going to push up, and what ends up happening is I just go down. There's no, you know, the TTK's too fast. I can't do anything. My teammate's going to try to get to me, but I'm going to try to crawl to him. But as my teammate pushes up, this guy is all over it, and there's not much I could do, guys. That's how my game ended. We ended up losing. It is what it is. I'll still take a 26-4 game, and especially in a gameplay that I can help you out and show you how valuable Tempered is. So I hope you found today's video helpful. As I always say, let's get better today, and I will see you tomorrow.